Now, I would like to welcome up to the stage my lovely colleague, Dave Bradley, who's going to be introducing his panelists to the stage, and they're going to be talking about the best monetization strategies for emerging and established markets. So, Dave, take it away.
I would like to welcome to the stage my experts. We have Sze-Ling from AppLovin, Soham from Gamerji, Khai from Mintegral, Ali from UMX Studio, and Kseniia from Elevatix. So please do come up to the stage. A round of applause for our experts. Thank you very much. So in a moment, I'll let my panelists introduce themselves. I've got another mic here. But we're here to talk about the subject of raise your revenue, monetization strategies, particularly in established and emerging markets. Now, of course, the games industry is, after all, an industry. So we're here for the purposes of making money and making our games profitable. But it's not the same from one region to the next. Some games in emerging markets, in fast-growing markets like the Middle East and North Africa region, or in Latin America as well, can attract significant downloads, but perhaps generate low revenue, while in some established markets, like the US, they are able to successfully generate higher spending. So our panel will talk today some questions about how to scale and monetize your games around the world. So I'm going to hand a mic, Ali, to you. I think you all should find your mics on the tables. And let's start here and work our way down. Ali, please introduce yourself and your business. Oh, have we got? Yeah, that's right. There you go. Oh, maybe we might have to share a mic. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. There you go.
Thank you, Dave. First of all, my name is Ali Alharbi. I'm from UMX Studio. UMX, it's based in Riyadh. We in the market since 10 years. Our game reach we expect to reach 100 million downloads in our game this year. Most of our audience from MENA region. I would like to thank you, Dave, and Steel Media, Pocket Gamer for this event. And also, I would like to thank you for, I'm happy with you guys and this panelist, this panelist. Thank you all to joining with us today.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Kseniia, Maiboroda, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Elevatix. We are doing artificial intelligence engine for the mobile games monetization through the smart in-app purchases. Analyzing tons of data every day, we generate in the lifetime custom personal offers for each particular player in the game and provide a personal bundle, personal price, the right place in the game and frequency for everyone. And we say that you don't need to choose anymore between the high LTV and good retention rate.
Great, thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Soham Thacker. I'm the founder and CEO of Gamerji. We are an esports technology company, ideally answering most of the questions where monetization around esports is evolving and how technology plays a huge part in bringing SaaS as well as technological AI and advancements tools for using esports for the right channels of monetization. So I'm here to talk about that, enlightening you about what we do, and along with that also share how esports can bridge with technology to monetize in a scalable fashion.
Sure. So hello everyone, my name is Khai. Currently I'm working for Mintegral. So it is a network, for monetization and user acquisition for your game or your app around the world. So some fun fact about me that I'm working for MENA region, but I come from APAC. And then I think that it's really a cross experience. I can bring more good story from APAC regions to MENA and then bring it back to APAC as well.
Hi everyone, so I'm Sze-Ling from the AppLovin business development team. So most of my day-to-day at work is spent working with publishers to help them monetize and scale their titles using our end-to-end software and AI solutions. At AppLovin, our mission is to ensure that the partners we work with are able to reach their desired customers.
Great, thank you very much. So thank you to my panel of experts with very different differing experiences in the games market. So let's start with some basics. There are some well-established ways to monetize games, and we could talk about ads or in-app purchases or premium or subscription. I'd like to just ask the panel what their experience of these different models are and what they know for a fact works, right? So, many people in the audience will be very experienced in this matter, but some people won't. We know that about 70% of our audience are game makers, and so perhaps for the first time they're trying to understand how to monetize their games. So I'll tell you what. Let's start at this end with me, with Ali, and work our way down. Do you want to give us an introduction? What do we know are the best ways to monetize games from your experience? Oh.
Yeah, actually, when we start, our game, it's just ads revenue game.
Right.
So during the 10 years, we do segment for our users. So we have top spender. Mostly we show them premium content with in-app purchase. And another player, they not spending anything, we give them some incentive, reward videos. So that do big difference in our journey. So basically, segment the user. It's one of the things we tested since years and doing really good. Plus, in this region, even the market itself, it's very small compared to other markets. But the top spender player, if they see some, let's say, high customer support from the team, they can spend multi-million $100 in beer game.
Right.
So that is really important to focus in top spender. And about non-spender, they like to watch 100 ads to get free content.
That's interesting. No, that's interesting. Thank you. You've got it, Mike. Shall we hand it down the row and hand it over to Kseniia? Yeah.
Yeah, basically agree with Ali, but also want to add from my point of view, taking into account that we are working with in-app purchases, but I think that it's really important. Doesn't matter which location are. I mean, MENA or United States. We need to find the good balance between monetization by different ways.
Right.
We don't have to choose. We have to choose the best way for each particular game, and to understand the pattern of behavior of each player inside of the game. For some players, it's a good way to monetize its ads. For someone, it's in-app purchases and any other way, subscriptions, season pass, and so on and so on. So it's really important to know the data about your game to choose the right model and right balance between these models.
Yeah, that's great. I think we'll come back to that actually as we go down the theme, because finding the balances and the hybridization of it is important. So Soham, yeah, what's your experience?
Well, from my experience, it's also the kind of the game that you make defines what ways you should monetize. Obviously, geography plays a big part. Yeah. But for example, if it's a role-playing or a strategy game, which is a longer-lasting career mode, you're more likely to spend on in-app purchases.
Right.
Versus if you have a quick-to-play game or a casual game or a first-person shooter game, ads make more sense, especially because you're not looking at a career mode. You're looking at more of it in a quick-to-play kind of a setting, where obviously ads make more sense because you don't have to, look at them or kind of rely on them for a longer period of time. So it also, along with geographies, obviously, there is enough data points that prove that the category of the game also defines what your monetization strategy around it should be. So along with geography, I think game developers should also be focusing on the data points that are available, and obviously the placements of and the kind of in-app purchases that will define that.
Yeah, absolutely. It does absolutely depend. Khai, I think you might not. Did you want to chip in on this question? Because if not, we can go straight down to Sze-Ling. So Sze-Ling, I'll tell you what. We'll come to you and ask the same question. Your experience of the best, the well-established ways to monetize a game. But I'd like to pick up with you that point that was made down here about finding the right balance between in-app purchases and ads. What's your take on that?
So for the right balance, I think first of all, you need to have a lot of data to understand what your users are doing in your ad, how they are consuming, the game throughout different levels. So when we work with publishers, we recommend that they look at things like ad frequency to make sure that you're balancing the retention of your users together with them not being annoyed by ads and then leaving your game. Another thing that you can also look at is rewarded videos. So for example, if your users are watching too many rewarded videos, then there's a certain gap that you need to fill with the game economy in terms of in-app purchases so that you can better monetize your users wanting to utilize more tools to help them progress further in the game.
Interesting. I'll tell you what, I'll just stay with you for a second and come back, but I will say as well that we've got about 15 minutes left for this panel, and I will leave some time at the end for questions. So if there's anything you want to ask our experts, please do hang on to those, and I'll ask at the end, and we'll get a mic to you. So Sze-Ling, just staying with you there, I want to talk just a little bit about scaling your game as well, about user acquisition and the role it plays in what we've just said. Can you tell us a little bit about how developers can successfully scale their games in audiences in order to monetize their game? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so to scale your games, I think first of all, again, it goes back to the data, right? You need to understand what kind of break-even points you have, how much you can acquire users for, and in what countries make the most sense to you. So what we do at AppLovin is whenever we work with publishers, we recommend them to use a multi-campaign approach strategy. So for example, if you're more of a casual game, we recommend running ROAS campaigns that target maybe ad users and also event campaigns that target level progressions. So this balances out the revenue that you get from ads and also helps users to progress to a certain event in your game, and then that works for your retention. On the other hand, if you're more IAP focused, we also have IAP ROAS campaigns that targets a certain IAP goal. So with a multi-campaign approach, then you can reach out to engaged users, users who watch ads, and also users who make purchases. So it's kind of like an all-rounded approach to make sure you're just reaching whatever audience you need to get.
Cool. Khai, did you want to take the same question as well? So let's talk a little bit about scaling your game so you can take advantage of this.
Yeah, sure. So like the same with like AppLovin saying. So actually, the game industry right now is really different with compared to 4 years ago. Yeah. Like the mobile game can grow organically, but right now you need to invest heavily on the UA to really get more user and then test your game with the market. So from Mintegral side, we also have a solution to support the UA to grow with global market. We have a CPI model, ROAS campaign. And also we aim to have a more event-focused campaign that you can like prospect any kinds of the event you want to purchase, check out, or maybe any other kinds of deeper event that you want to try for your game. So from that you can achieve the goal that you want to meet with like Mintegral, and then from that you can scale your game well and then achieve the revenue or maybe some event goal that you are looking for.
Great, thank you. Hold that thought. So I'm going to skip you because I'm going to come back to talk to you about esports in a moment. So we'll come straight here. What's Elevatix advice in this here about scaling your game and the role of user acquisition in monetization?
Basically, I want to say that now it's very important to align acquisition strategy with the in-app purchase strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, because the real value is to get the really effective money potential from each player. If it's zero from in-app purchases, it means that we need to push ads monetization and so on. So if we align the strategies about user acquisition to understand the right location, to understand the right price per each player and so on, and balance it with the right strategy on in-app purchases, we can get like really good balance between the CPI and the LTV.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. Ali, do you agree with that? Yeah, okay, cool. In that case, let's go back to Soham. I skipped over you there because I wanted to, in the time we've got, talk a little bit about the esports market. That's Gamerji's place in the market.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that. How do you work with brands to monetize that experience? Who's making money out of esports, and how do you do it?
Well, obviously, esports started, especially making revenues through sponsorships and brands associating with it. But now those times have evolved. I mean, just putting your logo out there is not going to be enough. There has to be more mediums in which monetization in esports, especially for brands or even organizations, even federations, there has to be engagement. And that's where Gamerji plays a very important role, where we build tournament engines which allow brands to engage with their audiences, to not only sell their products, but to kind of understand and build a community within their customer base. So that's where esports plays a very important role now, kind of innovating from the conventional medium, which was just putting your logo out there, or just putting your brand mentions in live streams, is not going to be sustainable over a long period of time, where brands start to realize that the ROI are just not there, where engagement or longer lasting solutions, which obviously through technology or ideally white label products which are customized or designed for a brand, whether it be a consumer brand or whether it be even something as simple as an F&B service, where they can engage with the customers through games and through mediums of tournaments, through mediums of creating content through them, and obviously building a smaller community within that is how esports has started to monetize itself.
Interesting. I don't know whether anyone else has experience in the same sectors. Does anyone else want to comment on the monetization of esports that way? Just you. You're on your own. But if there are any questions about esports and brand monetization, Soham's the guy to speak to later. The advertising, both the user acquisition of games and advertising generally, has faced some challenges in the last couple of years. I mean, the privacy, the drive for privacy, things like the changes to IDFA, has resulted in user acquisition becoming expensive and advertising perhaps being a little bit harder. How do mobile game studios still manage to create, to get the data they need to create useful either ads or in-app purchases? How do we work in that landscape? Are ads still viable in this post-IDFA world? And what are the challenges that we face as game makers in the current landscape? Does anyone want to take that question? Does anyone have an opinion on that? Yeah, Ali, have you got? Sorry, there's not enough mics. So you're right.
Yeah, actually, building the game community itself, it's really give the studios a real promising result compared to privacy. So based on our experience, since years we built our community, our UMX Studio game community, so that is help to our user engaging with us and see what is the latest update for our games. So that is one. Second thing is we go with tier 2 influencers. So this also boosts our community engagement with our gaming ecosystem. So that also reduce the cost, and also we get the exact target audience. Right. So that help us in our growing. That is also really important because we see the paid campaign using some ad network not affect similar to back 2018-19. So that is one of many things to do in a privacy challenge.
That's interesting. Thank you. Does anyone else have any experience with this? Kseniia, do you have any thoughts on none about that? No. Anyone else want to comment on that?
Sure. I think that from my point of view at network, I see that IDFAs will maybe the data consents will protect the user, but at the same time it cannot stop the growth of our game. So what I observed outside, there's many solutions outside. I see some booths over there too. They have a solution to help you to boost the user consent. Mm-hmm. And maybe in terms of many MMP right now, they also have that solution. So I think that yes, there will be a challenge, but that will not stop our growth. And then with other ad network, Mintegral also doing really well in terms of align ourselves with GDPR, CCPA, something like that, to bring the user experience good, and then still protecting the user data, but still can support you to grow your user base really, really well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add not about the ads, but about in-app purchase monetization. Perfect, because
yeah, sure.
When you don't get the user's personal data, it becomes the difficulties in the building segmentation, for example, based on the regular way that we prefer to have. But if I would say, for example, that 60% of the players in MENA is under 35, or I would say 40% is the female of players. What can we do with this data? I mean, it's just the average hypothesis, And if we will look deeper, we can understand that personal data will not give us, the real key of the money potential of the game. But if we will look on the behavior of each player, you'll see that we even don't need this personal data. If we will look at the behavioral pattern of each player, what do you do as player when you level lost, for example, or level win, or something like that? It will give us more, even much more answers than just collected the personal data and trying to make segmentation based on that. So I understand that it's a big challenge for us to make the segmentation based on the new approach, don't use the personal data and so on. But from another side, it's a good opportunity, to get more effective monetization of your game.
Very good answer, thank you. We've got about 5 minutes left. I've got more questions. I've got plenty more questions, but I don't want to miss anyone here. Does anyone have a question about monetization for our experts while we're here? Anything specific to what your mission is here at GameExpo Summit? If there's a question from the audience, we could definitely send a mic out to you. Well, no, and then I'll carry on. So on behalf of the developers and publishers in the audience, what advice do you have for a developer here? I know there's many indies here, perhaps launching their first game. What advice do you have for an indie developer who wants to launch a game globally, perhaps particularly in the MENA region? I don't know, perhaps just start at the end there. Do either of you have some advice for the developers in the audience that want to launch a game?
So I think if you want to launch a game globally, what you need to do is test in different regions to get the data to see how users react to your game, if there are any metrics that you need to improve on. For example, like users in the US versus users in like Brazil, say, or Mexico, or even in MENA itself, they can react very differently. So let's say for US, you might have more in-app purchases. If you look to other countries, they might be more ads heavy. Then from there, you can kind of tailor the strategy that you want monetization-wise.
That's great. That's very important, as you say, the different regions. I don't know, Khai, do you have a view on this?
Yeah, sure. So like for many indies game developer, we have the same suggestions like AppLovin are doing. It's like you should launch your game with at least some minimum budgets for the UA. From that, you can have a holistic view of your game performance, the country, how the ROAS, how the tier is working for you, and how the IAA, AAP is working for you. So from that, you can pick what is your focus. From that, you can put heavy investment in maybe the bigger launch later on. So from that, you can have a better revenue and also have a better qualities of the user for your game also.
That's great, thank you. Thanks, Khai. Soham, do you have any advice for the publishers and developers in the audience?
Being in the esports space, my only advice is make it esports compatible. Yeah. But no, I mean, jokes apart, obviously it is also very important to localize a particular
Localization is important.
Localization plays a very, very, very important role. Obviously, globally, when you think about it, we are a very diverse audience from geographies. And so localization or kind of relatability for local audience to that particular game is very, very important for the game to organically grow. Obviously, inorganic mediums of growing are good to kind of get into the initial phase, but then sustainability of the game depends completely on organic growth, and localization, obviously, according to me, plays a big part. But do make it esports compatible; it'll help. We could definitely spend a whole panel talking about esports, but we could also spend a whole panel talking about localization and culturalization, which is a huge topic at the moment as well. And of course, we've been talking about the price of in-app purchases and so on. And it isn't just enough, is it, these days, to translate that money into local currency. You also have to consider what the spending power is in the territory and that kind of thing. Yes, what advice, Kseniia, what would you have for developers in the audience?
Yeah, my advice is, to put much more resources to the new feature, to the new cool games and so on. And don't be scared, to use high tech in the gaming. I mean, to use ML, artificial intelligence, because, it will free a lot of resources to make cool stuff in the games and to boost revenue generation by very fast and very good way.
Absolutely. And in fact, we just had a roundtable about AI over there, and we could definitely spend the whole afternoon talking about the role of AI in many of these processes. Do we get a mic to... Oh, there we go. And yeah, any advice that you have, particularly for people, perhaps launching a game for the first time, how they should look at monetization in this region?
Yeah, for this region, you mean?
Oh, anywhere at all, yeah. But
our game, it's targeting MENA region, so I think they can start with, for example, TikTok here. It's very popular, so you can get really high traffic from this platform. And also the campaign itself, it's really low cost. So they can test the game first and see day one retention, day 7 retention, also day 1 conversion, day 7 conversion, how many users will stay with the game. So that will give a real result to understand what is your game doing in the market. So that is the basic actually things. Then after do improvement on that game, you can go with pitch deck with visitors, so you can present your numbers in front of this visitors, so you can go to next level by influencers, by more ads campaign.
That's great, thank you. Do we have any questions from the audience? We've got sort of 3 or 4 minutes left. So are there any questions from the audience for our panelists about monetization? I know it can be very difficult to ask a question in front of everyone. So if you do have a question for our experts, are you folks all here at the conference? I suppose you can be found on Meet to Match. Good. We've got a couple of minutes left, so let's talk a little bit about, I guess, let's go back into some of those questions about, you mentioned about AI there. See, that was great. That was a great topic. Is anyone else experimenting with AI or advises our developers and publishers here to use technologies, new technologies like that to monetize? Or what about Web3 and things like that as well? Are they also worth exploring for the monetization of games right now?
I'll take the mic on this, but Web3 definitely. It is something which can help you monetize. However, it completely, like I said earlier, it completely depends on the kind of game you have, because Web3 games, and especially the Web3 audience, can be very, very choosy and on what they ideally like to spend on. So Web3 can definitely play a big role, but AI, according to me, plays even a bigger role, especially when you are defining games. And if you are defining multiplayer games, AI plays even a bigger aspect, especially when you talk about what we do as an esports platform. We use AI for enhancing your stats, providing you with analytics which will help you improve yourself as a gamer, matching you with like-minded gamers, or helping you build your squad if it's, for example, an FPS game, depending on your playing styles. Things like these, obviously AI plays a big aspect on kind of building on top of an already existing game, or even marketing the game even further down.
Perfect. Well, in the last few minutes, let's start at the end here and come back. So we'll start with Sze-Ling. How do you see monetization strategies evolving in the years ahead? If we're back here in a year's time, 3 years' time, what is the conversation going to be about? What are the trends here?
I think right now the trend is heading more towards automation. So in the sense that a lot of networks are moving more towards a bidding approach. So that also frees up, the people who are monetizing from, going through the waterfalls and all the manual work. So a lot of the focus then would maybe be on coming up, using AI to come up with new ad formats to see how else you can generate revenue from what's already there other than the existing ad formats.
Great, thank you. Khai, what's your thoughts on that? How do you see monetization strategies evolving?
Right, so from my side, we see that right now, the game developer and also the game studio, they are willing to test. So before that, we see that many studios, they just forgot on AAP, some just forgot on AAA. But right now we see the trend that many studios, they are willing to do hybrid model, or maybe they try to combine many kinds of the monetization way to maximize the revenue. But at the same time, it brings many benefits for the user when the user, they can purchase or free to play or something like that, so that they can have a more way to optimize the revenue for the game studio. But at the same time, the user have a more choice when coming into when playing game on mobile as well.
Great, thank you. Let's start down this and we'll work backwards. So, Ali, what's your take on this? Do you have any thoughts on how we see monetization strategies evolving in the years ahead?
Yeah, actually, I think the next 3 years, the play-to-earn game will be more involved in that, and also we will see a free-to-play game. They will add some auction inside the game, and will be there is a marketplace. So there will be exclusive items, so the player can sell to each other inside the game system ecosystem itself. So I think the player will not just spending money inside the game. They will try to, for example, can buy exclusive item, for example, this day, and maybe after 3 months, they will be with 3x, will sell it by 3x inside the game currency. So instead of I in-app purchase over and over, so I can make, I become trader inside the game, so I can sell and buy with the same game currency.
Great, thank you. And Kseniia, do you have a theory of that? Yes, how monetization strategies will evolve as we keep coming back here for this conference? What are the topics going to be?
Yeah, in addition to what my colleagues already said, I would like to add just, the technical point that it's very important if you're going to use ML, for example, for the revenue boosting for your game, for analyzing behavior of your players, you have to use models that learn based on the mobile gaming experience. So not to use the ML models that used for monetization, for example, different mobile applications and so on. Because the behavior of mobile players are really the main sensitive, and you have to be sure that the data that was used to learn some particular ML model was exactly from the domain of your mobile gaming. So then you'll get the great result, you'll get great automation, and you'll free your resources to make a lot of new cool games.
Perfect. That's a great note to end on. We're out of time, I think. It's a half-an-hour panel. So I'd like to give a round of applause to my panel of experts, please. 30 minutes is not enough to get into the thorny topic of monetization. So if you do want to find out more, and while we have experts like these here, please do use the Meet to Match platform to reach out to the companies that you see here and engage with them.